All right. Hello and welcome back to the Thomas Fitch Sports Show. I am your host, Thomas Fitch. It's the first episode of 2018. We have a lot of stuff to get to. Texas bowl game. Texas got a big win. We'll talk about next year, who are our recruits, who's going to be starting at quarterback. The college football playoff has a lot of problems with it, so we're going to talk about some ways to fix it. And after that, some UT men's basketball and maybe some women's basketball talk. I am joined here with first special guest of the Thomas Fitch Sports Show, James Boswell. So let's get started. Let go of everything. All right, so James, you are the first guest. Say hi to all the Thomas Fitch Sports Show fans out there.
Hello, Thomas Fitch Sports Show followers. I'm really honored to be the first guest of the esteemed Thomas Fitch Sports Show. It really means a lot to me as a Texas sports fan and a friend of you, Thomas. It really means a lot.
Yeah, this is a lot of new things, not only new guests. We're in a new place. We are in the CMA radio room. And we also have mics, which I'm going to have to remember to talk into the mic. But this is really fancy.
These are exciting times for sure.
All right, so let's start off talking about the bowl game. So Texas wins 33-16. It was a big win, finishes the season 7-6. So what are some of your takeaways from the game?
So my big takeaways from that game is that we really looked like a complete team. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we had our problems because this is Texas. But we really had what looked to me and felt to me like a complete game. Our defense was doing their thing.
They were.
As usual. They shut down, one of the best passing offenses in the country. So the defense did their thing. Our offense actually was competent.
Yeah.
They put up 33. Well, they didn't quite put up 33 points. Defense
had some help from the defense, had some help from special teams.
But, the offense put up actual points.
Yeah.
That was good. We didn't struggle down the lane. We didn't go to overtime.
No.
We didn't
Anytime when we avoid overtime at the University of Texas is a good game.
Right. So, I just really thought that we had a lot of things. We came in, we looked like we were clean and ready to play, and there really weren't that many mistakes. We didn't have any turnovers.
Winning the turnover battle, we forced 4. They had 0. Anytime when you win the turnover battle, there's a good chance you're going to win. What impressed me, obviously, the question going into the game was, how was Todd Orlando going to get this team ready after you lose some of your best? You lose Deshaun Elliott, Holton Hill, who probably would have been out because of suspension, but he says he's going pro. He's not going to play. Malik Jefferson was out with turf toe. How is he going to get those guys ready to play against this was one of the best offenses in the nation, averaging 502 yards per game, 11th in the nation. And on their 6-game win streak coming into this game, they had scored at least 45 points in every game, and we held them to 16. Mm-hmm. So that just shows the how impressive Todd Orlando is. Probably one of the best defensive masterminds in the nation at this point. And I've heard that we're looking at trying to sign him to an extension because
we did sign him to an
extension. Yeah, we did because we don't want anybody else to get him. A&M tried to get him.
Right. No,
good old Jimbo.
Definitely the fact that he was able to take what had been mostly our second team guys really and take them and make them good. I mean, I didn't notice a drop off. I really didn't. I was there.
Not at all.
I didn't notice a drop off at all. It looked like a normal defense. That's really encouraging going into next year because you look at the people that played and the people that are coming back, and the people that played are all coming back.
Right. Well, you look at some of the players. Gary Johnson. Mm-hmm. Talk about the growth of his game over the season. I
think losing the presidential election was the best thing that happened to him. He really changed
good old Gary Johnson. But he had 10 total tackles, 7 solo. PJ Locke, and he was a player who had been out for the Tech game. He's a big leader. He's coming back. He had 4 solo tackles. Devontae Davis, Anthony Wheeler.
Let's talk about Anthony Wheeler for a bit. He was the one who had that fumble return for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Do we see him stepping up more?
Absolutely. So basically, he's kind of been in Malik's shadow. He was a great, I believe he was the year after Malik, the class after him. And so he's kind of been in Malik's shadow, but he's an incredible athlete as well. He's kind of a similar build, that kind of like sleek, really athletic, follows the ball around, ball hawk kind of guy. So I'm excited to see him step up. He can really be a leader. Him and Gary Johnson leading the linebackers. You get P.J. Locke and Brandon Jones, who are going to be leading the secondary. And then talk about the D-line. Obviously, you lose Poona Ford. But as far as the D-ends, you have a Minahu, who that was a huge that he decided to stay. Brecken Hager, talk about that guy flying around.
Yeah, and he's a real leader, too. He's definitely going to be able, I would say he's going to be sort of the captain of the linebackers for sure.
Absolutely.
He kind of played that role a little bit.
Yeah, he's kind of the hybrid D-end linebacker kind of guy. Fiery personality. So I'm very excited about this defense going to next year. Couple other things about the game. I know we put up 33 points on offense, but it was not an impressive game. You look at we only had 280 yards of total. Missouri outgained us 390 to 280 offensively. So you look at that, that's not good at all. Shane Buechele, Sam Ehlinger, I know you want to talk about this in a second. They went back and forth. Ehlinger was 11 for 15, 112 yards, and 1 touchdown. Buechele, 6 of 14, 55 yards and 1 touchdown. Nothing super impressive. Daniel Young looked decent running the ball, 12 carries for 48 yards. But nothing really to write home about offensively.
Right. I think the biggest thing that we look at with the offense that we saw in this game against Missouri that we didn't see in other games was that the offense was able to do things when they needed to.
Yeah, that is true.
For the most part, that opening drive we got a touchdown. How many games did we go? Opening drive was a disappointment.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's been our struggle a year, was starting off fast.
Right.
We start off fast against USC, we win that game.
Absolutely. There was a bit of a slump in the third quarter, and that was kind of what we closed the gap a little bit there because we can't have a good Texas game where we're solid all the way through.
Can't have that.
I think situationally the offense was good, and that's what we're not getting in these stats here. When you look at, I thought, okay, Buechele 6 of 14. That number surprised me. I thought he played a lot better than that.
Yeah.
But that's because when he needed to complete a pass, he completed a pass. Same thing with Ehlinger, and same thing with our running backs too. They would get us to where it's a 3rd and 5. Well, Danny Young busts out a 5-yard run.
Right.
So that's not going to do much. He averaged 4 yards. 5-yard run's not going to do much for his average.
Yeah.
But situationally, our offense was better, and that's what was really hurting us. I mean, other than just general inability to convert on 3rd down.
Yeah.
But situationally, when we would need to get a first down, we would need to keep the ball just 2 minutes.
Yeah. Well, and more importantly, there were no late game turnovers by our guy Sam Ehlinger.
no turnovers at any point. That was definitely the big thing. But we still think if we want to talk about quarterbacks.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, talk a little bit about how Herman's managing the quarterback situation. I know you don't love that.
Right. No, I didn't love that all season. Although I didn't think that it was necessarily a bad thing. But I guess the biggest thing we're going to say with substitutions was that it felt to me. Okay, well, let me talk quarterbacks. I got off track here. I feel that I thought Buechele played very well in the first half. Obviously, it turns out later that he was pulled for an injury. So
he's always injured.
Right.
So
He's
in a constant state of injury.
That is a typical thing. But, I would say I thought that Buechele was playing very well. I think Ehlinger went out and did a good job too. I don't really have too many problems with the way the quarterbacks were handled in this bowl game. Obviously, if Buechele hadn't been injured, I would have liked to have seen him a little more because I thought he was playing well.
So you're more Team Buechele, because the Thomas Fitch Sports Show is a Team Ehlinger podcast.
Oh no, I firmly believe in the upside of Sam Ehlinger. Don't worry, I do believe that there is an upside to that. But Buechele was doing things. The thing that I didn't like about him during the season was his ability to get sacked. Like he was very good at getting sacked. There were times when he would get sacked and it seemed like he just wasn't aware of the pocket pressure. And that was what Ehlinger did really well, was say, "There's someone coming, I got to go."
Yeah.
But I thought when Buechele was in the bowl game, we saw him make a couple plays with his feet. We saw him get out of danger when he needed to. That was what I liked to see. That was why I wanted to see him play a little more.
Right.
Because
his last game at Texas, get him some reps before he goes.
Don't say that. Don't say that. No, I thought he was actually playing really the way he needed to be playing all season. I don't know if that's just because his ankle wasn't hurting or he was finally not injured.
Briefly.
Not for long. But I thought, that was what I wanted to see more of. I do believe that there's a strong upside to Ehlinger. We can talk about that when we get into the
quarterback next year.
The future.
Yeah.
But if we want to talk about just general substitutions, this was something that I harped on. Actually, this is something the entire Longhorn band harped on all year long. We had the good fortune of being able to watch everybody who was running in and out of the game. And this was something that I think this is really, we all like to talk about Beck's play calling. I think the biggest concern for me was Beck's personnel management. We saw numerous times we get down in the red zone. We're on the 5-yard line, and all of a sudden, all of our big guys leave.
Yeah.
And we pull in all the small guys. Or we're on the 3, we throw a pass, but we don't throw a pass to Colin Johnson, who's our 6-foot receiver who can actually make these plays.
No, we throw it to 5'8" Devin Duvernay.
Right, and then no wonder it was intercepted.
Yeah.
They had to throw it into traffic. So personnel, really, it felt to me, if we want to talk about running backs, consistently we would have a running back who would start to take command of the game. Doesn't matter which of the four it was.
Right.
Warren has a good run. Those were rare, but when Warren had a good run, he would get pulled almost immediately.
Yep.
Danny Young has a good run. Well, we pull him. We can't let anybody build momentum. And this was a problem. This was a problem that I saw in Charlie Strong, too. This is not new. One of the things cost us at the California game last season was the fact that we switched quarterbacks every play.
And the fact that we messed up the coin toss and kicked off to them in 2 straight halves.
Okay. Well, that's beside the point. But this is not anything new, this idea that once you start to get momentum, you pull anybody.
Yeah.
And I'm not a football coach. I'm not paid to make those decisions, but that just doesn't make sense
Yeah.
to me. And that was a problem that I had, was that we would pull our good players when we needed them if someone was starting to get momentum, especially in the running game, which is all about momentum.
It was very rare to see back-to-back runs. From
By the same
5-yard run, let's throw.
Right. Or back-to-back runs from the same guy.
Yeah.
You get a 5-yard run from Young, and then, we're going to pull him. We're going to pull Kyle Porter in there, who gets 1 yard and goes back. Okay, so then we'll put it didn't.
Yeah, with Antonio Carter, he put him in. He'd fumble, drop a pass, or whatever.
We just had a hard time getting momentum. That's all I really want to say about the offense and our
substitutes. And honestly, I felt that way about. I don't like how we go back and forth between quarterbacks. We did the same thing with Coach Strong with Hurd and Swoops, and it just throws off your flow. You have I believe it was in the Bouchel drives down, scores, then he got stalled, and then Ellinger comes in. I think he got stalled the first drive, scores the second drive, and then he gets taken out.
It's rewarding players. Rewarding. It's like a reverse incentive.
Yeah.
You play well, you'll get to sit on the bench. Well, these guys don't.
Encouraging laziness.
Presumably.
Well, okay, no, but here's the deal. When you're on the field, you can't hydrate. You take them off the field, they get a chance to hydrate.
Yes, that's it.
Less concussions or whatever.
Right.
But the thing here, and the thing especially about Ellinger, but Ellinger, he needs to warm up. In every game, you look at the Kansas State game, which he ended up having a decent game. His first play or the first series of the game, he throws an interception. And that was a common occurrence when he was the USC. That was a reason why we started off so slow, is because you got to let him warm up. And so when you put him in for a couple drives and then take him out and put him back in, and he's going in and out, then he's not going to be in any rhythm. And he has to be. He could be a decent quarterback when he gets a rhythm.
I completely agree.
But if you don't let him get in that rhythm, you're not going to get that.
I completely agree with that. And that was, that's when we talk about personnel. Again, I know I've got the whole Longhorn band behind me and saying that we need to keep people in the game when they do good things, and that's, I think, probably common knowledge for most people.
All right, well, you've heard it here first, folks. The Longhorn Band says you need to revamp the personnel situation. All right, so let's move on. Let's look towards next year, 2018, new year, new Texas.
Right, supposedly we've heard that before.
So let me tell you if this sounds familiar. Third in the nation recruiting class, a lot of good players, not a lot of 5 stars, but a lot of good 4 stars, some potential quarterbacks. You lose a couple players to the draft, and Texas is preseason ranked number 24. Have we ever heard that before?
Well, we've heard the number 24 preseason ranked before. We haven't heard third in the nation in recruiting since 2012, I believe.
Is that the highest we've been?
I'm pulling that.
We've been top 5, but this is the best class we've had in a long time. If you look at the class, we are third in the nation right now, behind Georgia and Ohio State.
Those are good. That's good company.
Very good company.
I like that.
Those are top 5 teams. 19 signed commits, and that's one of the different thing about this class is with the addition of the early signing period. Now we don't have to worry coming down to National Signing Day. Are we going to have guys who are going to sign? Of those 19 commits, one's a 5-star, B.J. Foster, number 1 safety in the nation. We have 14 4-stars. We have 3 currently left uncommitted, and those guys are Keandre Coburn, who is a 4-star defensive tackle. That would be huge because he's our only defensive line commit, or only 4-star or better defensive line commit. Because we also, the other day, we got a new commit, Daniel Carson from Missouri, but he's a 3-star. But still, we can use as much depth at that position as we can. The other uncommitted or unsigned guy is Keontae Ingram. I think both of those guys seem like they probably are going to sign. But at this point, they're saying, why am I going to sign early? I might as well wait, see what happens. Why sign before the bowl games?
Right. Well, with Ingram,
before the coaching changes.
Right. Well, with Ingram, he was winning a state championship.
Right. He had the state championship to worry about too.
The reason that he gave Coburn said basically that I get nothing out of signing early, so
right.
I'm going to wait, and I think that's totally acceptable.
Absolutely.
Texas fans kind of ripped him for a little bit on that, and I don't think that was good. But I think let's talk real quick about the early signing period.
Yeah.
Because some interesting things here. In that it does change the way we recruit, and I noticed a difference.
Absolutely.
Because you noticed on signing day we picked up all our defensive backs.
Right.
We loaded up on defensive backs, but our trenches on both sides were pretty low.
Mm-hmm.
After the signing period, we're seeing a complete flip.
Who
we're targeting. We're filling the holes. We're getting the line on both sides.
Yes.
That's an interesting strategy.
Yeah.
I don't know what other schools are doing. I don't know if other schools did it the same way, but that's something that has changed with the early signing period is that you can focus on position groups.
Right.
And so we get this big group here, and then we sign them, and then we move on to a completely different group, completely different athletes. Because all the recruiting news I've heard lately has been about the line.
It has. Well, and I think it'll be interesting to see how that pays off, because you risk losing some of those good 5 stars who sign early. But when I originally had planned this podcast, started working on this podcast a couple weeks ago, there were very few names who we were going after. A couple of those names, these are guys to pay attention for National Signing Day. Caleb Okechukwu. Okechukwu. That is it. 3-star D-end. He's visiting today. We actually haven't offered him, but he said if we offer him, he'll likely come. Moro Ojomu, that's a big guy. He's actually favoring A&M right now, but that's another 3-star D lineman. Vernon Jackson.
Visiting this weekend.
He is
visiting. All these guys are not Jackson, no.
Jackson visited a couple weekends ago. He's a 3-star athlete from who's a Bama commit, but he took an official visit to UT. He's not signed with Bama. And him and Mike Williams, who's a 3-star athlete from Louisiana, both guys. Williams actually played quarterback in high school, but both guys were looking at turning into kind of defensive end hybrids. And so there's
a lot of room for that in Todd Orlando's defense.
Oh, absolutely.
Really the whole hybrid player thing is pretty big there.
Yeah.
So getting athletes is clearly important.
Mm-hmm. And the other guys, so these are new names who I've heard recently, and they're 4 stars. Joshua Moore, he committed to Nebraska, but he's uncommitted. And he's the top 100 according to 24/7 Sports. Their composite rankings, top 100 in the nation, top 10. Texas player. He's a wide receiver, 4-star. He released his top 5 today, and here's the interesting thing. So according to the crystal ball predictions on 24/7 Sports, A&M was who was number 1 predicted, but he released his top 5 today. A&M is not in that top 5, but Texas is. So good chance to go after him. The other thing, the other guy, Joseph Osai, he's a 4-star D-end, and he started to trend towards Texas recently, and he's top 20 in the state. So those are
state thing is huge, I think.
That is.
We saw that on early signing period, locking down the top commits in Texas.
Yeah, we have 4 of the top 5 in Texas right now, and they're all DBs. I mean, you look through our commits: B.J. Foster, safety; Anthony Cook, cornerback; Caden Stearns, safety; Jalen Green, cornerback.
All from Texas. All
yeah,
from Texas.
And Brandon Eagles, wide receiver. Then you go to Demarion Overshawn, safety; Deshaun Jameson, cornerback. So a lot of defensive back commits, which in a way it's great because you get all of them. But it is a really DB heavy class, and so that is something. But that's why we're going after these D linemen. A couple things. Obviously, offensive linemen are big to go after. Our top offensive lineman commit, Junior Aguilu.
Angelau,
Angelau.
As I understand it.
I apologize. He's from Utah.
Interesting storyline with him.
He is.
A Mormon,
yeah.
Which he's from Utah, so that's not too surprising. But there's a chance that he could decide to go on mission
right.
when he graduates, which would completely void his NLI.
Would it void it?
It would void
okay.
it.
But regardless, it
would void it, and he'd have to be re-recruited. Now it's likely that
he would still
2-year mission.
Right. He'd come back
to Texas, but we would have to re-recruit him, and he would be in the class of I want to say 2020.
Yeah, that is correct. Mission. Yeah. But you got to look at that. That's not just like, okay, you lose him for 2 years. That's 2 years where he's on a mission trip, probably not working out all the time and improving like he was in high school. And then you got to develop him and developing him, that's going to take a couple years. So you're really looking at 3 or 4 years if he does the mission trip until, he's really able to do anything. But what about the some transfers?
Some transfers, right. So we got a couple offensive line transfers, one of which I put in the outline to fill in, but Thomas didn't do that. So we're going to ignore him, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Calvin Anderson. He's the big guy from Rice. He's a tackle.
Yeah,
he's actually on an official visit today.
He is. Yeah, we got a bunch of guys visiting today, but he would be huge.
Yeah, and the early sources we're getting out of that are that he's liking it, which is, that's understandable.
Yeah.
Obviously, we like this place. We think that everybody should come here. So that's going to be an interesting thing to watch. From what I understand, he is trending towards Texas.
Yep.
Because he's a Texas guy.
He is.
Rice.
Quick move, still moving from a both academically excellent schools.
Absolutely.
But, the big thing about him, like I was talking about Junior Agaloo, even if he was to come this year, and we have a couple other offensive line commits, Mike Grandy's a 3-star, I believe. But here's the deal. You got to develop those guys. Connor Williams, you don't get guys like that who are, freshman All-Americans in their first year all the time. Right. You're going to have to develop these guys, but to have a guy.
Well, that's where I think that getting Calvin Anderson, getting a couple grad transfers is big
because they can play immediately.
Right, and that's what we need.
Yeah,
I agree. I like that strategy. I'm not a big grad transfer fan in college sports at any level. I don't like college free agency.
Yeah, well, and it's like if you're transferring, why are you? Like it's one thing like JUCO because they're going. Oftentimes it had something to do maybe with grades or something, but. A graduate,
well, I think,
very few graduate transfers transfer because they're too good for the school.
Anderson might be the distinction there.
Yeah.
He's played at Rice, and now he's got a chance to play some big-time ball.
Yeah.
It's hard to fault him for that. And
Absolutely.
I don't have a problem with that, and I don't have a moral objection to any of this either. I like the strategy because I think it's pretty smart to go out and you plug and play, you fill the holes. We're obviously we're not relying on transfers. When you start relying on transfers, that's not a good sign.
Right.
But we obviously have signed a good class without that.
Yeah. But, the thing is, I don't know what I was going to say. Anyways, but, I think a graduate transfer is a big deal no matter what, but especially in the offensive line because clearly Tim Beck had the whole season to, I get the offensive line struggled early on. That makes sense, because, they're a bunch of young guys. They're not starters. You go through injuries. But as the year went on, it's, Connor Williams isn't coming back. We lost some other guys. And I didn't see much improvement. Mm-hmm. And maybe you can make some improvements over the offseason.
Well, not having, tons of injuries. If you actually look at a list of who all is injured.
Yeah.
I didn't realize, and I follow Texas football very closely.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize just the sheer number of players, not just on the line, but just the entire offense was decimated. We were playing with half of our offense.
Oh yeah, and defense.
So that's that's a large part of it. We can't blame it completely on Beck. But we do have a new offensive line coach coming in.
We do. Herb Hand.
Yes.
Herb Hand, who is from Auburn, and I think that's a great hire. He's offensive line / offensive coordinator. That's what he's going to do. Be co-offensive coordinator. I don't know who will be calling plays.
I've heard rumors.
Okay.
I'm going to be an irresponsible journalist and share rumors that I can't
just
source.
Put a question mark at the end of it.
But,
You're good.
I've heard rumors that there's a good
Allegedly.
chance that he'll be taking over the play calling.
Question mark.
Perhaps. Although we don't really know what happened. We don't know what happened with play calling anyway this year. There was some murky waters on that too. Was it Beck? Was it Herman? Was it both? We don't really know.
Well,
exactly.
he did call the bowl game.
He did call a bowl game, and we saw a lot smarter.
It was a lot smarter. Coincidence? I don't think so.
Didn't throw the ball on 3rd and 2 with 2 minutes to go in the lead.
Right, right. Oh, that hurts. That hurts.
Yeah.
I did meet Tim Beck.
Oh, you did?
Orientation week. I shook his hand, and I was like, oh, I just met Tim Beck. I had advisor's appointment afterwards. I was like, I just met Tim Beck. Like, how cool was that? And now it's like, this hand is cursed. I'm just kidding. Tim Beck, he's given us a lot of upside. Yes, upside, some downside, some turnovers, some losses, but he's still here.
Absolutely.
So let's, what everybody really wants to hear about, who's going to be quarterback September 1st at Maryland. We got 4 guys on the roster. So obviously returner Shane Buechele, Sam Ehlinger. Then you got the newcomers. You got Cameron Rising, and from California, you got Casey Thompson from Oklahoma. It'll be interesting. Shane Buechele is hurt right now, but he'll be back by March. So it'll be interesting to see who starts. But there could be a fifth name in the ring, and that guy, Jalen Hurts.
I made a note on my outline here. I wrote on that.
Don't read too much. But here's my source. Greg McElroy tweeted, "Don't be surprised if Jalen Hurts ends up at Texas." Now we're not going after him. We're not going to pursue him. We don't actively really need a quarterback, but he's from Texas. He knows if he comes here, he's going to get playing time. So if we get him, he's going to come after us. So that's just a name to kind of pay attention to. I don't think it'll happen, but it's just it's fun to throw some rumors in there.
I don't know. And after the championship game, Texas Twitter lit up saying, "Oh, Jalen Hurts is going to be our starting quarterback next year."
Yeah, Tom the Herman was tweeting at him.
Right. Well, yeah, that's a reliable source. That's a very reliable source, straight from the mouth of not Tom Herman. But I do think here's my take on Jalen Hurts. I don't know that necessarily we need him. I'm going to say he's a good quarterback. There's no denying that. Obviously, he's been to 2 national championship games in 2 years.
He's also had an incredible supporting cast around him.
But that's the thing. He's had an incredible supporting cast around him. We've got good quarterbacks here. All right, we've got Shane Buechele. Very good arm. We've seen that. Adequate legs. We've got
very short.
And very short. Okay.
5'5", allegedly. All I will say, he's listed at 6'1".
He's not 5'5". He's taller than me.
Okay, so yeah. I met him when I was about 5'11". He was wearing cleats, and I was taller than him.
No, he's not.
So unless he's grown in college, there's a chance, but unless he's grown in college, he's not much more than 5'11".
Okay, but we've got him. He's got an arm.
Yep.
And he has legs that work.
Sometimes.
They're not great, but they work.
When they're not injured.
We've got Ehlinger, who's got legs that work very well, and an arm that can throw a ball.
And questionable last-minute decisions.
Right. We've got 2 new guys coming in. I'm not entirely sure what their skill sets are going to be 100%, but I'm going to say that I think when I look at Jalen Hurts, I see a guy who's good. I don't see a guy who fills the hole of good legs, really good legs, and really good arms to the point to come in and supplant the people we have.
Right. Well, looking at the freshman, Casey Thompson, he's the guy from Oklahoma. He was a big commit because his dad went to OU. So anytime you can get a guy who's grown up, OU, we usually don't get very many commits from Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, that many.
Yeah, and Oklahoma generally swallows them up. So to get a big 4-star quarterback,
he's from Norman. He lives in Norman.
Yeah, he lives in Norman.
I agree. That was a big momentum. That was a momentum grab.
National top 300 player in the nation. The 12th best quarterback. He's more of your mobile quarterback. Whereas Cameron Rising is he's ranked 209 in the nation, 9th overall quarterback, and he's a pro style. So my take is Casey Thompson fits the Tim Beck system of the mobile quarterback a whole lot more than Cameron Rising does. I think what you do is you have Casey Thompson. I don't know if you have him start, but he's getting more reps than Rising. Let Rising develop because I think long term Rising has more upside than Thompson. However, and you need him to develop more. I think as a mobile quarterback, there's less development. It's more get in there, get a feel for the game, and he fits more into Tim Beck's system.
Well, Colin Cowherd says that mobile quarterbacks are lazy quarterbacks because they don't have to study as much.
You call Vince Young lazy?
I'm not, and I'm repeating that. I'm not endorsing that. But that kind of fits with what you're saying.
Yeah.
They need less development.
Yeah.
If you're a mobile quarterback, you take 1 read, 2 read, go.
Yeah.
If you're a pocket passer, you take 1 read, 2 read, 3 read, 1 read,
and then you throw it away. Yeah.
You have to do a lot more reading than if you're a mobile quarterback. Because if you're a mobile quarterback, you can get yourself out of trouble.
Exactly.
So I'm not going to say that's necessarily lazy quarterback play. I've never played football, so I can't call any of them lazy. I'm not in that position. But that is an interesting addition, I hope.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
Yeah. So Maryland, September 1st, who are you going to say who starts?
Let's see. Who do I think starts? I think, here's what I'm going to say.
Yep.
It's going to be either Ehlinger or Buechele.
Okay.
And I'm saying that because I really hope we don't start a freshman quarterback again. but I'm tired of that.
Yeah.
I can end that streak.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
be
absolutely.
perfectly happy with that.
Absolutely.
I think it's going to be one of those two because both of them have shown that they are good
Right.
quarterbacks who can win games.
Right.
They're both capable of winning games. Both capable of losing games. Both capable of winning games.
Exactly.
So it's going to be one of those two. And in my opinion, it's whoever gets better at their voids. You know, with Bouchel,
Mhm.
it was knowing how and when to get out of sacks.
Right. Right. Still learning.
Right. That's a weak spot for him. You know,
Right.
He can make great throws. He can
Right.
make good reads. He's a smart quarterback.
Right.
But he gets sacked too much.
Yeah,
and part of that's
he
'cause
does.
he had a bad offensive line, but also
He just
couldn't
sits
get
back
it.
there.
Mhm. Yeah, for people who are listening on audio, Thomas just did a great little quarterback drop back.
Drop back in the
imitation.
chair and just sat there.
Yeah, that was so. It's a very nice one. And then, yeah, he even got hit and his head snapped back. It was very good.
My ribs are now broken, as well as my ankle.
There you go. All right, now you're Tony Romo.
And, well, Shane Bouchel is basically a younger Tony Romo.
But if Ellinger, here's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
If Ellinger can get an accurate arm
Mm-hmm.
and better reads,
Yeah.
he starts.
Okay.
If Bouchel can avoid sacks, he starts.
Okay.
I'm trending towards Ellinger.
Yeah.
Because I think the staff prefers Ellinger. We've seen
Right,
that they put their
right.
trust in him because he's shown a better ability to go out and
Yeah.
fight to the finish.
Yeah, well-
even if he loses them
Mhm.
for us, which he's done twice, 3 times. I'm gonna say twice. No, not 4.
Okay, well, USC, Oklahoma State, OU, he had a last-second drive. That
He didn't lose that
that
game.
he didn't lose that game, but he had a chance to win.
Right.
And then,
But
obviously,
I'm
Tech.
going to say that I think the coaching staff and probably the Texas fan base
Mm-hmm.
in general leans more towards Ellinger
Absolutely.
because of the drive that he showed.
Oh, yeah.
But if Bouchel can avoid sacks during camp, then by all means
Yeah.
he should start.
Well,
I
I
think the coaching staff is willing to start him if he can get
Yeah,
better there.
I think Ellinger starts. And the reason why, I don't think Bouchel has much more to grow. I think he's just about at his limit of what he can do. Ellinger, I think people forget he's still a true freshman.
Yeah.
You know, he's not a redshirt. He's a true freshman. And I know he's made mistakes, but you can fix, like, he's gotten I know it sounds like a broken record after every time he makes a mistake, to lose a game, but you get so much more experience from making a mistake that cost you the game than you do from, playing against San Jose State.
Right. I agree. Well, and playing high school ball.
Right. Oh, yeah.
there's
But the problem,
big
yeah.
learning curve there, and having an off season to go back. A lot of those interceptions. Okay, the fumble, that was a bad call to run your true.
That was,
freshman
and that was kind of
quarterback.
Tim back.
Yeah, that's all him.
And we're in the game because of him
Yes.
and the defense.
But I'm going to say, when you make that bad throw to Oklahoma State, we heard them say that was a broken play. The receiver, there was miscommunication.
But that was
there.
just a freshman mistake.
Freshman mistake.
Absolutely.
I don't like saying freshman mistake because, as we're going to talk about in a minute, freshmen do not all have to make freshman mistakes. We'll get there. But
To a season.
But but even he made freshman mistakes.
He
We'll
did.
talk about that.
We are.
Um,
Get to pronounce his last name.
Right. Yeah, I don't know how to do that. But when you get someone like Sam Ellinger, who is physically pretty good, not perfect. Physically, he's pretty good. He just needs to get a little bit more film time.
Yeah.
The off season is when you do that. He's going to get a lot of time to look at film, study, make his reads better. If he makes reads better, his throws are going to improve.
Right.
But he was throwing in a Texas Tech game. Okay, aside from the bad play call, that interception was a bad read.
Yeah.
He threw into triple
Yeah,
coverage
it was.
when you got Colin Johnson open down the
Right,
center, and I'm
right.
sitting there screaming, Colin Johnson, but he didn't listen to me.
Yeah.
You got a wide open guy down the middle, and you throw into triple coverage.
Yeah,
that's not a physical problem. That was a bad read.
Right. I think it's his read making and his accuracy.
Mhm.
But those are
easier to improve in
Right.
the off season
and
than your physical
Right.
mobility, and that's why I trend Ellinger
Yeah.
on him.
and
more.
and here's why this is a big off season is a lot of coaches will say basically by the end of your sophomore year of college, your accuracy is what it is. It doesn't get better or worse. You can't really fix that after you kind of develop them.
Mhm.
So this is why it's a big offseason. We know Tom Herman's a quarterback guru. We saw what he did while he was the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. He won the national championship with a third-string quarterback.
Right. He had 3 good quarterbacks, and then if you go down to Houston, Greg Ward.
Yeah.
Greg Ward was a dual threat.
Yeah.
Who had a really good arm
Yeah.
too.
So if anybody can develop him,
Beck was quarterbacks coach at Ohio State
Yeah.
too. We've got 2 good quarterbacks coach, supposedly. Supposedly 2 good quarterbacks coach. I'm not going to believe it till we get stellar quarterback play.
Yeah.
But we have the talent in the
we
room.
do.
For sure.
All right, so let's wrap up this Texas football talk. But last question, ask all my guests this. Actually, you are my second guest. I forgot I had Bryce Berlint on. This is the first guest on in the radio room officially, but I did have Bryce Berlint on it over the summer.
I'm crushed.
But it was different. It was different than this. Anyways, but what is your prediction for this coming year?
Okay, I should have come prepared with an answer to that. Let's see. My prediction, I'm going to give you two scenarios.
Okay.
One.
Yeah, you want to ceiling, floor, something like that.
Okay, so I think our floor, I'm thinking 8. I'm saying, well, no, not a floor of 8. Sorry, floor of 6, obviously.
Okay,
Floor of 6,
okay,
because,
okay.
But I'm counting, we'll do better in non-con this year.
Okay, yep.
And so then you start off with 2 wins.
Right.
I'm not going to say whether we beat USC or not, although I like that game.
Yep, home against a team without Sam Darnold.
If we count this as a floor, then we count that as a loss.
Yeah,
so,
right.
But that starts us off with 2. So 6 or 7, I would trend probably more towards 7. I feel that we're going to be a winning season team next
absolutely.
year. I'm knocking on the wood in the radio booth right now. Because if we have a bad year, it's all on me.
It is all on you.
But I feel like our floor is a little higher than it was this year. Ceiling, I'm going to say, I don't remember exactly how our home and away lineups work for conference play this year.
It's pretty good.
It is pretty good, though.
It's pretty favorable.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's true. We don't have to go to West Virginia.
We don't.
We're the home team against Oklahoma, not that that matters.
But
I like our
TCU is at home.
TCU's at home, and that is actually a pretty loud stadium.
That is. Well, we've lost there a lot.
We've lost to TCU a lot.
We have.
Doesn't matter where. As a Fort Worth guy, that hurts me a lot. But no, I think our ceiling. I mean, gosh, I'm going to say our ceiling is 10 wins.
Yeah, I
have
to agree with that.
I don't think we're 11 wins. I don't think we're 12. I don't think we're going undefeated at all. I think that would be way too much growth.
Yeah.
But if a couple, we were, let's see, we were a fumble away from going to 3 overtimes against USC, and I think at that point we've got a much better shot. So we're a fumble away from at least staying alive against them.
Yeah.
We're a bad interception away from
beating Oklahoma State.
Yep. Easily.
OU had a chance
with 30 seconds to go
against.
No, we didn't have the lead.
No.
We had the lead for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Against OU.
Well, and what about the fact that we took the lead against USC with 40 seconds?
No.
That.
There's a lot of upside. We were close to winning a lot of games.
But OU had a chance to win. Tech had a chance to win. The only game that we didn't have a chance to win was TCU.
Right, and that wasn't a blowout.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, it really wasn't.
That was a boring game, though.
Yeah, that was.
Boring.
But yeah, I have to agree with that.
I think this year we get those bounces that went the other way. I think they go this way this year.
And that is, when you watch sports a lot, you see a lot of close games, and the majority of the time it's the better teams coming out on top. That is truly the mark between a good team and even just a mediocre team. Mediocre teams can be in close games every game. Look at Texas basketball.
Right.
We'll
talk about that.
But the best teams find ways to win. That's the key. That's what all the best coaches know to do. Nick Saban, he was in this was not his best year. He had a lot of injuries. He had a lot of close games. And yet he's holding the national championship trophy at the end of the year. Bill Belichick, finds ways. Greg Popovich, they all find ways to make it out of close games.
Right, and we didn't have that.
No.
I'm going to say we weren't the better team this year, but I think next year, we get the bounces.
I agree.
We get things to go our way. We don't make those mistakes.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm getting my prediction. What is yours?
Well, I have to agree with the floor at about 6-7 wins. I think because ceiling is the best possible, I think 11 wins is a possibility.
Where's your loss?
Well, so is that 11-1 in conference play? The loss, I think OU is a game we can win. If anything, I almost see us losing a trap game, like a Kansas State on the road.
Oh, we have to go there. That is going to be
tough. So something like that. But I think again, that's a ceiling. But I think more than likely, I think a 9-win season is solid, and you keep that momentum and going and get another solid recruiting class. But we'll see. Last year, I believe coming into this past year, I think I said 9 or 10 wins was what. Yeah. Right. I'm always too optimistic. Anyways.
Well, there's lots to be optimistic about. This is
that's
Texas,
true.
So hope springs eternal.
It does.
It does. 4 years now.
8.
Let go of everything.